Chapter 4. The Unspoken Truth. The truth, when it came, didn't arrive with a thunderclap. It arrived in the suffocating silence that followed Caleb's terrible revelation. He wasn't just a ghost in the machine. He was the ghost who had never left. A part of this house, this family, and this legacy of sorrow. James stood frozen, his mind scrambling to catch up with a reality that was twisting into a grotesque caricature of his own memories. He looked at Caleb, really looked at him, and saw not the stoic, dependable older brother he had always known, but a stranger, a man haunted by something James had never been privy to. Caleb's face, pale and streaked with dirt and exhaustion, held a grim, almost manic intensity. He was no longer pacing. He was standing perfectly still, his eyes fixed on the rusted plaque, on the initials that were a constant, silent accusation. He hadn't said it, not out loud, but the implication was a physical weight in the air between them. The ghost was their father. "It can't be," James whispered, the words a desperate protest against the mounting evidence. "He disappeared. We don't know what happened to him. We came back to find out." Caleb's laugh was a harsh, bitter sound. "Did we? Or did you come back to finally face the truth you've been running from your whole life?" He ran a hand over the cold metal of the switchboard, his fingers tracing the fuses and wires with a strange familiarity. "He didn't disappear, James. He didn't run away. He was never gone. He's been here, in the house, in the walls, pulling the strings, watching us, all of us." "That's insane, Caleb," James said, his voice rising. "That's fucking psychotic. You've been out here too long. You're losing it." Caleb's eyes, dark and hollowed by lack of sleep, met his. There was no madness there, only a cold, terrifying clarity. "Am I? Think about it, James. The scream last night? The body in the barn? The generator coming on out of nowhere? You really think some random stranger, some fucking drifter, knows about this?" He pointed to the secret switchboard, the hidden heart of the house. "You think a stranger knew our childhood nightmares? The drawing you made? This whole place is a goddamn trap, and it's been waiting for us to walk right into it." James stumbled back, a sick feeling of dread washing over him. The pieces, fragmented and nonsensical before, were now clicking into place with a horrifying precision. He thought of the childhood terrors he had long buried, the shadowy figure with the red eyes, the feeling of being watched. He had drawn it, a child's crude depiction of a boogeyman. But what if it wasn't a boogeyman at all? What if it was just a man in the shadows, their father, watching them from a distance, hidden in plain sight? "He couldn't have," James stammered. "Why? Why would he do all this?" Caleb let out a shaky breath, running a hand through his hair again. He looked at James, and for the first time, James saw a profound and terrible sadness in his eyes, a grief so deep it was almost an ocean. "You don't know, do you? You were always too young. Mom and Dad. They weren't just good people, James. They were hiding something. Something from this place. Something from him." "What are you talking about?" James asked, his voice a frantic plea. "The land, the woods, the whole goddamn history of this family," Caleb said, his voice raw. "It's all connected. The shadow men Grandma talked about? It wasn't a myth, James. It was our father. And his father before that." He walked over to a bookshelf and pulled down a heavy, leather-bound journal. It was old, the pages yellowed and brittle with age. He flipped through it, his fingers stopping on a page filled with their father's spidery, precise handwriting. He called it the Watchers, a secret order, a cult of sorts. They were the self-appointed guardians of the woods. Their job was to protect the land and to punish those who defiled it. James stared at the page, at the chilling words scrawled across it. He felt a profound disorientation, a sense that the world he had known was crumbling around him. Punish who? For what? "Anyone who came here without permission," Caleb said, his voice low and guttural. "Hunters, campers, Anyone who got lost in the woods and stumbled onto the property, they considered them trespassers, defilers of the sacred ground. He paused, his eyes meeting James's. The old man in the barn, James. He wasn't a drifter, he was a hunter. He got lost, and he wandered onto the property. He was here for a reason. He was a symbol, a warning. James felt the bile rise in his throat. He thought of the contorted face of the dead man, the savagery of the act. A warning. He thought of the raw, anguished scream in the night. It wasn't the sound of a kill, it was the sound of a sacrifice, a ritual. Caleb slammed the journal shut. He's been here all along, James. He's been in the walls, in the crawl space, in the goddamn basement. He's been watching us from a distance, waiting for us to come back, to finish what he started. But why? James's voice broke. Caleb's gaze was hard, unflinching. Because he thinks we're just like him, James. That this is our birthright, our inheritance. He wants to bring us into the fold, to teach us the family business. A cold, horrifying realization dawned on James. The childhood drawing wasn't a premonition. It was a memory. The shadowy figure wasn't a nightmare. It was their father, a ghost in the shadows, watching them, grooming them, preparing them for a life of murder and madness. The red eyes were not a figment of a child's imagination. They were the glint of a flashlight in the dark. And with that realization came another, more chilling truth. The killer was not just their father. The killer was also the man who had brought them here, Caleb. James's eyes widened, his gaze flying from the journal to Caleb's face. The weary expression, the grim determination, the strange familiarity with the house's secrets. It was all there. The pieces clicked into place. The unspoken truth that hung in the air was not that their father was the killer, but that Caleb was his student, his apprentice. Caleb's eyes met his, and in their depths, James saw not just fear, but a cold, terrible resolve. The facade of the terrified older brother was gone, replaced by something far more sinister. He was not trapped. He was the one who had laid the trap, the one who had lured James back, who had set the stage for this gruesome play. "I'm sorry, James," Caleb said, his voice a low, chilling whisper. "But I had to know. I had to know if you were like us, if you had the blood in you, and now I know." He held up the journal, a macabre family heirloom. "This isn't just a story, James. This is our legacy, and it's time for you to learn how to be a part of it." The grandfather clock upstairs ticked on, a slow, methodical countdown to the final, horrifying confrontation. The blood on the pine, the scream in the night, the ghost in the machine. It was all a test, and James had just failed.